Hello and welcome to Idea TV News Updates. I am Mary Ojumajo. I'll begin with the headlines. Court acquits ABBA KYARI of 23 counts asset non-declaration charges. Central African Republic seeks Russian support on energy. Cameroon launches AGRITECH innovation challenges with CFA 40 million support for setup. SOLARAFRICA secures $38.7 million deal to buy out investors. Kenya Wildlife Service showcases technology-driven conservation. And away from Africa, India seeks U.S. maritime protection for Middle East energy shipment. Iran conflict threatens Brazil gain export and fertilizer supplies. In business, FEC approves 100% gratuity for retiring federal civil service servants. And finally, in sports, South Africa accuses Morocco of holding Africans football hostage over WAFCON 2026. And now the news in full. A federal high court in Abuja today discharged and acquitted suspended Deputy Commissioner of Police, ABBA KYARI, of a 23-count charge of alleged asset non-declaration. The charges were filed by the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Delivering judgment, Justice James Omotosho ruled that the prosecution failed to provide sufficient and credible evidence linking KYARI to several properties cited in the case, including location in Asokoro, Maiduguri, and Katsina. The court also held that KYARI's explanation that the Maiduguri properties belonged to his late father was not disapproved. His two brothers, who were also accused in the case, were equally cleared as the court acquitted all the defendants on every count. Meanwhile, the Central African Republic has asked Russia for help in tackling major energy challenges. President Faustin Touadera made the request during talks with President Putin at the Kremlin in Morocco today, thanking Russia for its security support that enabled last December's election. He also expressed gratitude for Russian grain and fuel donation, highlighting CAR's ongoing need for assistance in energy, agriculture, and infrastructure. Russia's growing role in African security, including the deployment of the Russian African Corps, has expanded its influence in several countries, including Mali, Guinea, and CAR. President Putin said there are strong prospects to strengthen cooperation with CAR in energy and other sectors. The meeting signals CAR's intent to rely on Russia's expertise to address power shortage while deepening bilateral ties in line with Russia's broader strategy to increase influence and economic relations in Africa. Moving forward, the government of Cameroon has launched the second edition of its AgriTech Innovation Challenge to support digital solutions aimed at transforming agriculture, livestock, and fishery. The initiative was presented on Tuesday in Yaoundé by the Minister of Post and Telecommunications, Miti Lee. Authorities said that the 10 best setups will each receive up to CFA 40 million in technical and financial support. The selection processes will include an online pre-selection stage, regional contests across 4 cultural zones, and a national pitch competition before the final award ceremony. Eligible participants include registered setups and inventors with tested digital solutions or working prototype. The program is coordinated by the Digital Acceleration and Transformation Project and funded by the World Bank. Officials said the initiative is designed to promote digital tools that improve from productivity, market access, climate adaptation, and resource management as part of Cameroon's broader digital transformation strategy. South Africa renewable energy company SolarAfrica Energy has secured a $38.7 million magazine financial deal to buy out an investor from one of its subsidiaries. The investment was announced on Monday by fund manager Vintage Capital, which provided $635 main run to Solar Africa Commercial Energy South Africa unit. The financing arranged alongside Greenport Capital allowed Solar Africa to acquire this stake provisionally held by the Inspired Evolution, making the company the sole owner of the business. Commercial Energy South Africa brings together Solar Africa's commercials and industry energy assets, including rooftop solar installation and battery shortage system. But Vintage Capital says the deal highlighted the growing use of private financing tools such as funding to support renewable energy projects in South Africa's expanding solar sector. And now the Kenya Wildlife Service has highlighted the ongoing role of technology in protecting wildlife and ecosystem across Kenya. The agency showcases its innovation during the Global Conservation Tech and Drone Forum held in Nairobi to mark World Wildlife Day. Director General Erastus Kangi said modern tools such as drones, thermal imaging, remote sensing, and data analyzing are now being deployed to monitor protected areas, detect illegal wildlife activities, and respond quickly to environmental threats. Officials said the technology-driven approach is essential as wildlife crime becomes more sophisticated and climate change continues to disrupt habitats. The agency believes advanced monitoring and predictive systems will strengthen conservation efforts and help safeguard Kenya's biodiversity. We'll go on a quick break now. The news continues when we return.
Why is IDEA TV the premier African innovation television?
Africa's scientific, technological, and entrepreneurial progress and challenges have not always been narrated from within due to financial, leadership, coordination, and capacity challenges, as well as overdependence on external aid.
IDEA stands for Innovation, Development, and Entrepreneurship in Africa.
IDEA TV shares and creates awareness about the activities, progress, challenges, and opportunity institutions, researchers, students, innovators, entrepreneurs, and policymakers, and how they contribute to development.
We promote STEM education, bring science to society, address formal and informal sector innovations, and address unique African developmental issues. We partner with local and global institutions and communities, public and private sectors, NGOs, and donors driving innovation in Africa. We communicate ideas. Our impact? We make evidence and innovation outcomes understandable, useful, and accessible to society. We translate questions, findings, and evidence into stories for communities and policymakers to understand and use. We build capacity for science journalism and innovation in general. Our work facilitates policy around science, technology, and societal. We help to advance knowledge-based economic development. Follow us on all socials at IDEA Television.
Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is IDEA News Updates, and now the rest of the news. And away from Africa, India is in talk with the United States to secure naval protection for vessels transporting oil and gas from the Middle East. A government official in the New Delhi said the move aimed to protect energy supplies from possible disruption linked to tension in the Gulf. According to official India, the world's third largest oil importer, depended on the Middle East for about 40% of its crude oil imports and 85 to 90% of its liquid-fueled petroleum gas. Discussions came after Donald Trump directed the U.S. International Development Finance Corporation to provide political risk insurance and financial guarantee for maritime trade in the Gulf, with the United States Navy potentially escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Officials say India is also exporting alternative oil and gas supplies from global producers and traders to maintain energy security. The talks comes as supply concerns in the region threatens fuel exports and could affect gas delivery to industries across the country. And still away from Africa, the escalating conflict in Iran is putting Brazil's grain exports and fertilizer imports at risk, officials warned earlier today. Today's boat trend is shipping through the state, a key route for Middle Eastern route and other fertilizers used by Brazilian farmers. Brazil, which is set to surpass the United States as the world's top corn exporter this year, what exporter this year relies heavily on imports of grains from the Middle East. Supply distribution from the U.S.-Israel conflict could have impact crop production and global grain shipment. Local agricultural producers are increasingly concerned about fertilizer shortage and high cost as the region braces for potential trade and logistical disruption affecting both export and domestic farming operations. And now in business, Nigerian Federal Executive Council has approved a new exit benefit scheme granting retiring civil service a gratuity equal to 100% of their total annual enrollment. The Office of the Head of the Civil Service of the Federation announced the decision today, Thursday, in Abuja, saying the policy will take effect from January 1st, 2026 to strengthen financial security for workers after retirement. Under the new arrangement, federal civil servants who have served for at least 10 years will qualify for the gratuity payment. Officials said the benefit will not replace the existing contributory pension scheme, but will complement it to improve retirement income for workers in Treasury-funded ministries, departments, and agencies. The head of the Civil Service of the Federation, DG Wilson Jack, welcomed the approval, describing it as a recognition of the contribution of public service. She said that the scheme reflects the administration of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and is expected to boost morale across the federal civil service while strengthening retirement welfare. And finally, in sport, South Africa Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, Gauteng, on Wednesday accused Morocco of attempting to hold African football authorities hostage over the hosting of the Women's African Cup of Nations 2026. The remark comes after 6 weeks of uncertainty over the value of the tournament, which had earlier been confirmed for Morocco. Speaking at a press conference on Wednesday, he said that South Africa is ready to host the competition if Morocco withdraws. He insisted the country has the stadium and infrastructure needed to organize a major continental tournament at short notice. The president of the Confederation of African Football, Patrice, had said last month the tournament would still be held in Morocco. However, uncertainty remains, raising concerns for participating teams, including Nigerian Super Falcons, the most successful side in the competition history with 10 titles. And that's all we have for you on Nigeria TV News Update. But before we go, here's a recap of the headlines. Court acquits ABBA of 23 counts assist non-declaration charges. Central African Republic seeks Russian support on energy. Cameroon launches AGRITECH innovation challenges with CFA 4 million support for setup. SOLARAFRICA sets up 338.7 million deal to buy out investors. Kenya Wildlife Service showcases technology-driven conservation. And away from Africa, India seeks UK maritime protection for Middle East energy shipment. Still away from Africa, Iraq conflict threatens Brazil grain export and fertilizer supply. In business, FEC approves 100 gratuity for retirement federal civil servants. And finally, in sports, South Africa accuses Morocco of holding African football hostage over WAFCON 2026. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms at Idea Television. I am Mary Ojemajo. Thank you for watching.